get it. 3, 2. We live. Pop
We
up
live.
podcast.
So, episode 94. I believe we're on episode 94. We got a long episode today, a lot of topics. You got Clay back with us today.
Clay,
thankfully,
yes, sir.
Coming back with the triple threat. So let's get into it. As usual, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and if you do miss any part of this live show, it'll be available before the end of the week for sure. Somewhere between Monday and Thursday.
Facts.
It'll be available on YouTube, and you can go on there now and look at last week's episode. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the NBA first, man. A lot has been going on. We haven't spoken about the NBA in a while, probably not since really, the end of the finals and everything. But it's been a minute. And a lot of stuff is going on. A lot of stuff has went on. A lot of stuff I think we didn't think was going to go on. But first, let's talk about Draymond Green, because I remember me and Don last week when we spoke, we kind of talked about Draymond, and we were kind of hinting. Well, the media was hinting. As usual, we like to say here that everything we say here is not strictly facts that we found buried in a in a tomb somewhere.
Hey, they be cooking me. They be cooking me. But hey, one thing about the big diamond, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care. I don't care.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't care. Just so y'all know.
Exactly. And again, all of this is not straight up facts. Some of it is our opinions mixed in with things that we heard through the media or through word of mouth. All right. So don't kill us. But we were saying last week that it looked like Draymond Green might not sign with the Warriors again, and that he started to even hang out with LeBron. So people were saying maybe LeBron and the Lakers are looking to poach him from the Warriors. That didn't happen. So a lot of trades and a lot of deals came out the last couple of days. I forget which day was the day. But Draymond Green has signed a 4-year deal with the Warriors for $100 million, right? Obviously, that's going to be split into 4. Yeah. Now, as happy as I was when I was watching ESPN and I saw this deal, and I'm like, okay, Draymond's still with the Warriors. He took, a good amount of money. A lot of people is getting paid more money than Draymond Green. People that I didn't really suspect. This whole a lot of the deals I've actually seen, it was actually surprising that I saw this year with these NBA players. A lot of them that I don't even think really deserve to be getting the M's they getting are getting some M's, man. You know what I'm saying?
You're getting crazy bread.
Dylan Brooks, for example, signed. Of course, I didn't expect the Grizzlies to keep him, but he signed a 4-year deal with the Rockets for $80 million. Right? That's only $20 million less than Draymond's deal with the Warriors, and I think that's insane. All right, for Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks to even be getting paid ballpark the same amount is a little bit ridiculous to me. We got Kyrie Irving signed a 3-year for $126 million, 3 years with the Mavericks. So even that is far more than Draymond's 4-year deal. Kyrie obviously a far better player than Dylan Brooks, so I'm not really comparing that there. But again, I didn't record all of what I saw, but I could bring them up. But I'm gonna let you guys talk. But there were definitely some deals that I saw that I was like, man, I think Draymond, his agent or whoever is in charge of doing his deals, they're not looking too good. But Clay, starting with you, what do you think? What do you think of some of these trades and these deals that you saw in the last couple of days?
Man, I'm gonna highlight a couple things that stick out the most to me, because I'm sure wherever I miss out or wherever there's opportunity, I know Don gonna pick up with it. I'm gonna talk about these Phoenix Suns, man. They are stacked city. Not only did they get Bradley Beal, they went ahead and got Eric Gordon too. And it's just like, at this point, they got scores on scores. I don't know who's going to be controlling the ball more at this point, because they got nothing but ball-hogging shooters on their team. And not to say that they're ball-hogging players, but they're just players that I know need the ball in their hand at least more than 50% of the time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But I think the biggest shocker of them all, even though a lot of people were hoping and praying for it, is Damian Lillard asking for a trade. I know a lot of different trades and changes have happened, but I'm very intrigued to see where Dame Dollar ends up, because I'm not going to lie. I would love to see him on the Knicks. I would love to see him in Miami, even though a lot of people are saying that that's ideal. But how crazy would it be if Dame went to Philly to play with Joel Embiid? I think that would be crazy. And they definitely have a deeper team, too, in my opinion. I think that would be wicked. but I'm interested to see how that unfolds. But so far, everything's been kind of expected. Definitely, like you said, with the whole salary thing, with Draymond Green and stuff, that was just to align with Steph Curry and things like that. So there's a lot of strategic signings going on as well.
But I'm seeing here Kyle Kuzma even, and y'all know how I feel about Kyle Kuzma. He's getting 102 mil for 4 years with the Wizards.
Kyle Kuzma kind of been snapping with the Wizards. I ain't gonna cap.
I'm about to say he had a good season last season. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, but to me, even if he's snapping, to be getting paid more than Draymond Green.
Well, Draymond taking that pay cut because he
wants
the Warriors to still,
I get that.
Took that pay cut.
I get that.
He definitely took that
that's
pay
for
cut.
sure.
And he's part of LeBron's people. I think he's under their management. A lot of so I don't know if y'all seen the other day. LeBron had put a post for Rich Paul. That's who it is, and he's like, "Yo, I told y'all boys, Rich Paul is right. is that dude." Because you know what I'm saying, he's the one who kind of locked in a lot of these dudes' contracts, like getting big bread.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, for sure, man. But again, a lot of surprises. Even like Clay was saying with the whole Damian Lillard thing, I was really kind of surprised to see that but also not surprised because it does strike me that Dame wants a ring, and as we all know, he's probably not going to see that ring staying where he's at.
For sure.
So I'm not surprised that he's kind of requesting a trade because at this point, I think there's a lot of NBA players where they're like, "Yo, what more can I do other than get a ring?" You know what I'm saying? And I think Dame is definitely at the top of that list of players where it's like, how much more? I can't do no more by myself to get it done. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. So I gotta, you gotta do what you gotta do. But I have been having a lot of conversations with NBA fans and that are saying this trend of, NBA players kind of clicking up on teams just to get a ring is kind of getting annoying or is kind of ruining the NBA. I think ruining the NBA is a little extreme. I think it does add a different kind of element that might not be as fun to watch as back in the day when the NBA wasn't like that. But I understand it because, like I said, a lot of these players, once they do retire and they're out the game, the one thing, no matter how great you did, the one thing that not only fans but other players retired, whoever will hold against you, is that you did not get that ring, man. You know what I mean? So, like I said, Allen Iverson, definitely in my top 5, one of the greatest players, no doubt, to play in the NBA. But it's like almost hard to believe when you think about it that he never touched the ring, never got no.
Chris Paul about to be the same way.
But Chris Paul, man, I feel like he a lost cause, man. It's like Chris Paul's like he needs to, and I don't like Chris Paul's attitude.
He might get that charity ring though. I ain't gonna lie.
Get what?
Might get that charity ring. He might get that charity ring.
The charity ring
Warriors.
with the War. Oh yeah, he's on the Warriors. I forgot. You're right.
Yeah, he's on the Warriors, so don't forget about that.
I don't think the Warriors winning again though. To be real, but that's a whole different story.
That's what I was about to ask y'all. So we were just talking about Draymond taking that cut, obviously, to try to keep the gang together and see what they could do. Do y'all see the Warriors coming through again? Do y'all see the Warriors even getting to the finals?
I don't see it, bro. I don't see it.
Honestly, I think Chris Paul helping them facilitate the ball. Like, for example, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and we were thinking about it like, if you were to even put Chris Paul at the 1, we all know he's probably not going to start, but let's just say when this lineup is in the game, you got Chris Paul bringing up the ball. You got Stephen Curry, who's already a lethal player off the ball, running the 2. And then you got Klay Thompson playing the position he should be playing, and that's the wing. I think that is very dangerous. The only thing they're missing is a solid rebounder, which I know they have in Kevon Looney, but I think they need somebody who's going to do the rebounding like what Kevon Looney does and give them some scoring as well. I mean, they definitely got defense with Draymond, but honestly, with just them 3 alone, if it works out the way that it should, not could, but should, I think they could win another one, regardless of how stacked Phoenix is.
That's if Chris Paul stays healthy, which we see.
That part.
Chris Paul, mean, he's getting older. It seems like his body can't stay as healthy. Every time it gets deep into the year, towards the playoffs, he always gets injured. That always kills his team's momentum. You know what I'm saying?
But look at it now. Now he's on a team where they got a point guard. So if he got to chill and Steph Curry take a little bit extra minutes, Curry be like, all right, that's cool. I dropped 50 tonight. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That that's my last question I was going to ask about as far as Chris Paul. Um, Obviously, like you guys said, the Warriors they're not exactly in need of a point guard. They're good. You know what I'm saying? Where do you see Chris Paul falling into this, or even how easily do you think he can assimilate to the rest of this team and to who was obviously already, who Steph's already the lead as far as point guard. He has that down pat. How do you guys see Chris Paul fitting into this?
I mean, me personally, I think Chris Paul starting off is going to come off the bench, which is perfect. Because to have one of the greatest point guards of all time, like pure point guard, not saying he's better than Stephen Curry, but pure point guard off your bench, I think is like undefeatable. And I know as the season goes on, he builds that chemistry and that rotation with Steph Curry and Clay. Not to say that he's going to work his way into the starting lineup, because again, I don't think that's possible. But I do see it where, Steve Kerr will have Chris Paul at the 1, Steph Curry at the 2, Klay Thompson at the 3, and it's just globetrotter 3-point basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What about you, Don? You think you see Chris fitting in, or you think it's going to be a struggle?
He can definitely fit in. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those point guards that could really, like fit in wherever he goes. But it's going to be all down to if he stays healthy or not. Chris Paul's health is very sporadic and on and off. And usually once it comes playoff time, once it gets down the line, and his body starts breaking down, and he ends up getting injured and all these lingering injuries. Don't be surprised if he has a lingering injury right now that the public doesn't know.
You think so?
Yeah, you never because he had an injury last playoffs and he was playing a little bit and was off, and they were saying he was injured. Don't be surprised if he still got that injury.
I'm not gonna lie, a little sidebar. I'm kind of disappointed though that he didn't go to LA, only because he should have been on the Lakers when
him and Kobe.
God rest his soul. David Stern vetoed that trade. I think he was owed that, but I know his main goal was just to be back in California, period. So that's why even him going to Golden State still made sense, so he can be closer to his fan. But the Lakers would have been something to see. I would love to see him and LeBron on the same team.
For sure, man. Definitely looking forward to that season, that new NBA season coming up. A lot of changes, a lot of guys that are going to be gunning for that belt. You know what I mean? So we'll see what's happening.
Definitely going to be interesting
let's keep it moving. For sure. Moving on, man. Let's talk about Lil Uzi. Let's talk about the Pink Tape, man. The long-awaited Lil Uzi Pink Tape, the album, finally dropped. I feel like this is definitely, an album for sure. But I mean, we could talk about. I don't know if everybody got a chance to. There's a lot of songs on it, so I don't know if everybody got a chance.
Yeah, it's
to
a crazy amount of songs.
It's
I got to listen through it.
I ain't listened to the whole thing. I listened to some of it though.
Right. So what were you thinking, Clay? I guess was you feeling it? Was you thinking that could have done he could have done a little better, or what do you think about it overall?
I got a few different emotions about it. One, I definitely felt like he knew what direction he wanted to go in, but at the same time he didn't know what direction he wanted to go in. Like that was the vibe I got off of it. Two, a lot of the songs that got chosen for the album, I was just like, you're better than that, Uzi. Like it almost hurt. Like I'm not the biggest Uzi fan, but when Uzi dropped, I get excited for the energy and for the creativity. And while the creativity was there and the energy was there, it was just not hitting for me. I don't know. Like I probably out of that whole album, I probably can tolerate 2-3 songs max. Like I probably will never listen through that whole album again. It sucks because I even love the fact that he, tried to do the whole Chop Suey thing, because I understand he's trying to bend both worlds, hip hop and rock, and do it in his own way. But it's just like, dude, you should have just did the regular hip hop way of sampling it and doing it in your own way instead of doing some MIDI ass cover. You know what I'm saying? It was basically a cover song. I don't know if any of y'all heard it, but it was basically a cover song. So I was disappointed in that. And it was like, if you're going to do the cover song, do it right. It didn't feel like he did it right. Because I love Chop Suey. You know what I'm saying? So it just didn't feel that way for me. I don't know.
Well, so if you had to rate it out of a 5, what would you give it out of 5?
Out of 5, Solid 2.
Got you. Don, did you get
I want to say 1.5, but I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah. No, I checked. I listened to a few songs on it. It's like mixed feelings with me as well because he's going with that metal trap vibe a few records, and then trap vibe a few records and things like that. Like I said, I didn't go through 26 tracks.
Yeah, I think it's like including the bonus tracks. I think it's like 26 here.
I didn't go through all 26, but from the ones that I heard, he got way too much like chant tracks on there for me. Like the chant songs.
I know Lil Uzi's not like a rapper, right? Like I know he's not like a traditional. He's not like
that's
no
what I'm saying.
right?
That's exactly. Nah. I know he's not an MC. The thing is,
his
like,
whole career is based off of chant songs. That's like saying Playboi Carti.
I've heard better. I've heard better songs. Like I've heard songs that Lil Uzi that wasn't chant songs. Like that
were hits.
Now I do what I want. Now I do what I want.
All right, that's a chant song.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm saying. Like it's a chant song. That's not just one word.
I don't know Uzi
like that
songs
song
like
with
that.
him with Travis was trash, bro. The song with him with Travis is just hey. It's like, bro, you know how many not known rappers made that song you just put on your album, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, it was just I'm
trying to think of.
You're good.
You're good. Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's just like my feeling with the chant music. I feel like I've heard better songs from Lil Uzi Vert. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I feel like the album is good still for like what it is. You know what I mean? Because he got the chant music. I know it's gonna go crazy in when they do the raves or whatever, when they be jumping into each other at the clubs and shit or the concerts. So it's gonna go crazy in that setting. But like for like an album, like if this would be like one of them albums that's like a classic, I don't think it's like there. Like it's not one of those that I'm gonna go back to and listen.
Yeah, I mean, I would challenge both of y'all to name 4 rap albums that came out in the last year that you would go back and listen to.
I ain't gonna cap.
You probably can't name them.
Nah,
so
I ain't gonna cap. I do listen to that the Thug album because I was actually like comparing.
You would say the Thug album was better than this? Come on, bro.
With that
Thug album was a miss. There's maybe the first 3 songs on that. With the songs with Drake is hard. The 21 Savage song is hard. And other than that, particularly the songs with just Thug, because most of the songs on the Thug album you could tell was throwaways. Like we discussed.
Yeah.
These are not songs that he just put out. And to me, if your album, the throwaways are throwaways for a reason. You threw them away. They weren't good enough to be on whatever other projects you put on. Whether that was you who decided it or your management or your team, whoever. Clearly, someone decided this is not good enough to be on this project. So whenever I hear an album that is mostly consisting of throwaways, I can tell. I'm like, this is a throwaway. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that you compiled together because you know that you're obviously in a situation where you can't release anything new, but you need new material. So I got that vibe. And but again, I wouldn't say the Thug album was trash. I would definitely say it's even better than maybe his last two to three things he put out.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Because I would say listening to the Thug album was the most I felt the album from him since I was listening to So Much Fun. And So Much Fun is damn near perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to compare. But with the Uzi thing, like I feel like, bro, like, you know, the way albums are, it's funny, like, especially with who's supposed to be under this rap disclaimer or whatever, right? When movies come out, we don't never want the new movie to be like the old movie. Like if there's too much that resembles the old movie, we're like, oh, this shit trash. This is like the first one. Why they made it like that? You know what I'm saying? When rappers drop albums, if they new thing is not like, yo, this shit, why are they doing this new stuff? Why they making new music? It's like, I feel like we need to start practicing having that consistency with it, because at the end of the day, it's a creative process and a creative art. Tyler, the Creator, would have never won a Grammy if he kept making Bastard and all the albums that he was making. He had to make Igor and travel into that other zone where some people who are huge fans of his wasn't even comfortable or didn't like it because it wasn't traditional Tyler, the Creator.
Right.
But I can understand the process of like, bro, if this is something that I'm working on, and what they say allegedly is that he's been working on this Pink Tape or whatever for how much years that they've been waiting for it. working on something for that long, clearly as time progresses and your age progresses, your mindset, what you care about, what you think about, you're gonna have to keep going back and making tweaks and changing it. So in a way, I agree with Don and how he said for what the album is, it's good because yeah, for those of us who even like me was kind of expecting maybe something a little bit more traditionally hip hop or traditionally that kind of like trap sound, it was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of like, all right, you know what I mean?
It wasn't necessarily the difference that I was like taken away from it. And I didn't want it to sound like anything I've heard before. What I'm saying is I just personally feel like the ideas in themselves were great ideas. He just didn't execute them the way that I would have been like if I was in there with it, I'd have been like, nah, bro, do these tweaks to it. And in my opinion, it sounds better. Like I feel like creatively there could have been some tweaks to make them better. I don't think the ideas were fully thought out to be fair. You know what I'm saying? Like it just didn't feel complete
like
to me. While the ideas were great, because I love the Chop Suey idea, it just didn't feel like it was, you know what I'm saying? It felt like he tried to figure something out and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do a cover because I love this song. And that's cool. But like I'm pretty sure his fans would have embraced it a lot more if he like made his own version of Chop Suey. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how he did it.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
So,
like, yeah. I mean, again, like I saw I saw a couple people, particularly people who are more fans of System of a Down, were definitely saying like they didn't appreciate the Chop Suey, his interpretation of it. Which is cool. Like I can't just because Chop Suey is a song I've only maybe heard a couple of times. System of a Down isn't exactly one of my favorite, punk rock bands, so I don't listen to them like that. So I do remember obviously growing like seeing the Chop Suey video and hearing the song, but that's why I said I don't think my opinion is valid, but I don't think what Uzi did was that crazy. It sounds good. Like I feel like it's fine. Obviously, it's not anything very creative outside of the regular song. Because like back in I don't think this track actually made one of his albums, but I remember he covered one of the Backstreet Boys songs, and this is not something that it's like he's new to doing. He's done it even on this song. On one song, the song with Nicki basically samples that I'm blue, I'm a D, it samples that, and then and then the song the Mama I'm Sorry samples both Hate Being Sober and this other rock song from back in the day. So again, like it's not nothing. I don't think he did anything here. Like he wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, he was clearly trying to like. You could tell he was kind of trying to shift away from that traditional straight up trap, song sound. I think he should have maybe what he should have done was kind of split the album and made it a double album where the more rock heavy tracks were separate from what he was trying to do with the trap songs. Because technically, it could have been two whole separate albums if you listen to it. It could have been. And I feel like you said, maybe like the way because the album doesn't sound like it's not, how do you explain it? It doesn't sound like straightforward. Like it doesn't just smoothly go through. Like it's kind of all over the place with the rock songs and the trap songs.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was gonna say that. Yeah. That's how I was feeling. I was like, yo, this is kind of too much because it's like back and forth. It's flip flop.
Yeah. And maybe that was his intention. That format was his way of doing it, of saying like that was the idea. It's all over the place. But I do think it is like if you listen to it that way, it throws you off a little bit. Because I always say like if I could listen to your album on shuffle and it's like it's the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really in that kind of like, okay, I looked at this as an album and I tried to make sure the track listing and the way it flows through was congruent. But yeah. To me, like I said, I think it was good. I think comparing it to his last album, Return of a Take, I would give them like the same kind of level, except this clearly has more songs. Like this is like damn near a double album in one album. But yeah, if out of 5, I would say I'd give it like at least a 3.5 or 4 because I mean, that we've already discussed that this whole past year for hip hop albums has clearly not been good. There's been no number one. This album is projected to be number one. I think they say it's going to sell like 220 something by the end of the week. So I just feel like, man, the past year there hasn't been. This is the first rap album I listened to this year that was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, next to Killer Mike. Because still, if we talking about rap album, Killer Mike shit is the hardest shit that I think that came out.
Yeah, Killer Mike
year.
got it right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Killer Mike's album is an album, like a real album.
Word.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you feel like someone's telling you a story or like, and again, I wish that Killer Mike shit would get as much publicity or whatever attention as stuff like Lil Uzi, because at the end of the day, it doesn't. But I think anyone who's like itching for like a real rap album this year, you have to listen to that album. That, you know what I mean? That shit is cool. And it's an album that I think whether you listen to Southern music or you're into hip hop music or like, New York music, you'll find some sort of appreciation in that album. Lil Uzi, obviously not for everybody. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there's songs on this that I don't think I would play out loud, like in a car with people, particularly if they weren't Uzi fans. And yeah, and other than that, I don't think there's no shame in that, being that kind of artist these days either. Like, you have your fans, your niche fans, that they know what they want out of you, and you know what they want. Artists like Lil Uzi are at this point where they don't really have to follow a specific guideline or whatever.
Yeah.
They just gotta satisfy their fans, and I think that's
true.
Mission.
Like I said, he's gonna do well in that setting, like very well. Like the ravers, like going crazy, jumping around. You know what I mean? Like
and
mosh pits and all
exactly.
that. Like that's gonna go crazy in that setting. So
exactly, and I think that was for me was where it was too, because I was like, when I first started listening to it, I was more so trying to keep up with the lyrics and the theming and the songs. But then when I kind of let that go and got more lost into how it sounded sonically and like the beats and like the, like that's when I started to like, okay, I really like this album, because it's not, I feel like when you put out, when artists put out their singles or their promo songs before, it should be like a sneak peek into what their entire album is going to be like. And when he put out Just Wanna Rock, I feel like that, how as crazy as and off the walls that song is, that's how this album is. Like, basically, like it sounds like a full length version of that song, just kind of being all over the place. Like you said, there's a lot of repeated, like one word, like hey, or like, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, like that shit is kind of dumb, you know what I mean? But again, if that's your niche and that's what you're doing, that's what your people like, I don't see why not do it. You know what I mean?
Word.
But yeah, so like I said, for me, I'd give it like a 4 out of 5. But moving on, we're gonna keep up and see what happens with Lil Uzi and the pink tape, and if it goes number 1.
Yes, sir.
But moving on, we're gonna talk about Adam 22, man. Adam 22 and the No Jumper. So for the past week, and before I even get into this, let me give my disclaimer that I think all of this is heavy promotion, if even for this.
For
Adam
the tape
22
or his show.
Yeah, for it all. For it all. For it all. Because the one thing with Adam 22, clearly all of this falls in together. Like No Jumper, his adult film career, all of this kind of comes hand in hand. But so for those who don't know, if you don't know who Adam 22, he's the producer and host, and I guess CEO who started No Jumper, the podcast back in the day. He now has a team of people with him who does it, usually a team of guys. They'll sometimes have girls on there. But so Adam 22 has been married, has a child with, and is in a full-blown public relationship with an adult film star named Lena. I guess I don't know if she has any other thing to her name, but I know Lena the Plug or Lena something. And so this week, and it should be noted that Adam 22 and Lena, they often do adult scenes together. They film together. Like he stated on the show, they often do scenes with him and her and other girls. They've always done scenes with other girls. He sometimes does scenes with other girls by himself. But he this week announced that his wife, Lena, and mother of his child, has filmed and will be releasing a full-blown adult scene with another man, a black man at that. I don't know if anyone knew that, how important that is to the story, but
yeah,
he is a black man. And and so that's in full promotion right now. And Adam went on No Jumper this week and talked about it, and he has not been able to talk about anything else since, because obviously everyone surrounding him is kind of like, dude, what the hell? So before I get into y'all's opinion on, like, which I'm pretty sure I know you guys' opinion, but before I get into you guys' opinion on it, or we go into it, I want to address the whole double standard thing, which is kind of his defense of what he's been using when people are kind of getting at him about this. So like I said, he obviously does film with other women. He's done solo scenes with other women. His wife has done scenes with him with other women. And no one says anything about that. You know what I mean? So I guess the double standard here would be him saying like, whoa, if I can do that, how am I in a position to really deny my wife or deny her fans seeing her in a scene with another guy? And, you know, he said his wife gave him multiple attempts to no pun intended, pull out of the situation. And, you know, she told him that he could say no, and he didn't. He let it happen. So with that being said, what do you guys think about the double standard? Starting with Don, do you think that he messed up from day one by even opening this Pandora's box? Because he had to see this coming.
Yeah. No. I mean,
so,
to be real, that double standard, it does make, in my opinion, it makes complete sense. Like in his situation, you know what I mean? Because like if you're doing this, you're doing it solo with girls by themselves. You cannot not expect her one day to be like, hey, let me like I'm gonna do a tape with this dude by himself, and he can't, like, for him to be mad about it. Like, they, first of all, they're already in that industry together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So you had to already know this
no?
was coming. You can't. You really can't say no. I mean, you really can't say no. You're gonna have to let it go. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could say no.
Do you
but
watch?
You can't.
Do you not Adam 22? But I mean, asking you your opinion, Don. You say you're in Adam 22's shoes and this is your lifestyle, and your girl says it's going down. The dude's picked and everything is showtime. Do you stay and watch? Do you monitor what's going on? Because you're gonna probably see clips of it anyway, right? Would you rather wait till you see the clips, or do you want to be there to make sure everything is respectful and everything goes as
honestly,
respectful as it could?
If I'm in that industry, bro, like, you see how the cameraman be all up in front, like right there? I'm gonna have to be right there, like, yo, nah, hold on. Like, I'm gonna have to be well a part of it, bro, because like I can't sit back and then you're watching it afterwards. It's gonna make it feel even worse, bro. It's gonna feel even worse. You gotta be right there, like almost directing it yourself. You know what I mean? I'll be like, nah, stroke like this, gang. Stroke like this. Like, nah. Hey, back up a little bit. Go up. It's even worse just seeing it on TV. Imagine seeing, because if you're there, like, maybe she not gonna moan as hard, like, you know what I'm saying, on TV, and you see her getting ran down.
Maybe she moans a little too hard, and you start feeling like, hey,
yeah, that's what I'm be like. Hey, cut, hey,
you can't
calm
do
down,
that.
hey,
Yo,
chill out a little bit. That's too much for the camera.
One of his homeboys was asking him, like, bro, so was she like, you know, was she into it? Was she? And he was like, yeah, you know, she was into it. She was screaming and stuff like that. He was like, damn, bro, like, how do you deal with that? Because like you said, if you're thinking about it, you might be like, damn, she don't get down like that when I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And then you gotta, let me tell you, before we get to, I'm gonna just say, I'd never be, but if I was, I'm nowhere near that situation. I'm booking a flight to another country. I'm going away for as much days as I can. Call me when the whole set is clear and everyone is back at their houses, and then I come back a whole week later. I'm still not coming back as soon as that is done. I'm not seeing. I'm blocking at whatever I can do to block that out of my sight, out of me. I don't care how much money, whatever it is, I'm blocking it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's any scenario. And like you said, once you've opened that Pandora's box, you can't say no. It's difficult to be like, nah, babe, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in that position that I can at least control not seeing it, because it's going to happen either way, right? And you being there and saying cut and asking questions is not, you know what I mean? It's probably not helping. Dude, homeboy is probably going to be looking at you like, bro, I'm trying to work, man. You know, like,
I'm like, who's directing this shit now, bro? I'll be like, you don't have to call all the shots here.
You know what I mean? And as a dude too, you're gonna be like, look, man, your man's can stay, but if he gonna be all up in it and be a distraction, I don't want to hear him. I don't want to see him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I got something to say with Boss Moves. Boss Moves said she's bisexual though, so she really be liking the threesome action. Yeah, that's understandable, but I mean, that's that industry. A lot of them are like that in the industry. I would not be surprised if Adam 22 is like on that, like, you know what I'm saying, in that industry. I would not be surprised if that he would like the man on man action too. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, but either way though, I've always heard that when it comes to dating these female porn stars, you got to be a very unique individual, because situations like this are bound to happen. Like there are situations where a lot of these women that y'all see on these, on these sites and things like that, like they are married. They just married to somebody that's not famous, and the person they married to is watching them sleep with many other guys. Sometimes the same guy.
Some guys are into that. That's what I'm saying. If that's your thing, that's your thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to knock you, but
and some guys are into that. And actually, they I was like looking up an article on this situation, and he tweeted, that obviously it's been a week since his wife did it. He felt a little weird and jealous at first, but then obviously over time, not a big deal, whatever. And then I guess fans must have been responding to it, and then he replied again and says, and I quote, "Kind of weird how people are calling me a CUCK. It's supposed to offend me. I saw the video." He's like, "I actually saw the video of my wife getting plowed, and I thought it was pretty hot." So again,
I'm telling you, he likes that
special
shit.
kind of individual, because I would not like that, John. You know what I'm saying? So it is definitely a special kind of guy. And I've heard of these porn stars popping up on these podcasts and saying how, like, like one, I don't remember which one, popped up and said like, oh, the boyfriend that she's been dating for a couple years now, she loves him because he just lets her be. And I'm just like, what? like that don't even.
Wait, who said that?
I can't remember the porn star's name, but it was when it comes to me, I'll tell you guys. But she said the reason why she loves her boyfriend is because her boyfriend just lets her be. She can be and do and say whatever she wants, and her boyfriend never holds it accountable to her and like never judges her for it. AKA, she can be the biggest hoe and do anything she wants, and he's just like, yes, come home to daddy. Like, I'm confused.
Man. And I mean, it's,
but again, if it's
a
special kind of individual.
Yeah, very special. Because I mean, if it's your girlfriend, whatever. And again, for me, the thing was this is the mother of his child kind of thing. It's like, dude, like,
yeah,
girlfriend is one thing. I'm not watching the mother of my child get plowed by some dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just that just don't sit well with me.
Yeah,
but
it's nuts. And just like Boss Move says, probably the money that got him. Yo, they probably got, and like you said, it could have been promo for it. It could have been that this whole thing could have been promo for that video for them to make millions. You know what I mean? So it's the industry they in. So I'm really not surprised that he did that. You know what I mean?
I'm not surprised either.
It's the industry he's
in. I'm not surprised
at all.
I'm not surprised. It's just very surprised. I mean, him doing it is not surprising, but thinking of someone going through that is like crazy as hell, especially going through it publicly. Because you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're an unknown, you're just a regular Joe at home, whatever, and your girlfriend does that for a living and nobody really knows that's your girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, obviously some people know, but most people don't know. But I mean, to be Adam 22 and it's like, damn, dog, that's like,
it just hit a little harder.
BM, and then just hit a little harder. You know what I mean? And why black? That is another aspect of it that I'm glad Boss Moves brought up. Why a black guy? Like, I wonder if that was his suggestion, or if she was like, babe, if we're gonna do this, I have a preference. Or if
more than likely that was
you know what I mean? But all right, and then that's a whole nother layer to this for me. You're a dude, you're banging, this is your baby mama, your wife, whatever, you're with her for X amount of years. Never mentions anything about a black guy, right? Now comes time for her to go get plowed by another dude, and then her first request is to be a black guy. Wouldn't that be a little bit alarming? Like, where did this come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I went to her page and I saw the dude and I was like, oh, that's that dude. That's that dude. And I don't know. I just assumed to be, but like Clay said, and like he read, his own tweet from this guy was that he thought it was hot and that he enjoyed watching it. So I definitely think it's one of those things where it's like, is it really insulting to the person or making fun of them if they do know what they're getting into and they enjoy it? You know what I mean? If that's what he's into, that's what he's into.
Don't be surprised if they continue doing that. Like, she's probably gonna do more scenes with different dudes. This isn't gonna be the first and one. It's not gonna be a one and done. It's gonna be a couple more times.
Not at all. And probably multiple dudes at one time that she's gonna advance.
That's gonna be OD.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's gonna be OD.
OD, man. I know. I pray their children's Google very lightly when they get older. Very light Google.
Tread lightly when you Google.
Tread lightly.
They spoke about doing the
they
scene
spoke
together.
about doing a
Yeah, they
scene
did
together.
plenty of
Who's
scenes
they?
together. I think he means
Adam was the scene.
Adam Jumper and the chick. Adam
And his wife?
is cool. Yeah. They did plenty of scenes together. Supposedly. I don't know.
Adam 22 and his wife have done plenty of scenes. I know, and they've done like scenes with other people and stuff like that.
Or unless he's talking about
how they've been promoting it.
Unless he's talking about his wife and the guy.
And the dude?
They spoke about doing a scene together. Oh, they spoke about it. They probably was together speaking about it, and Adam was probably like, "Yeah, it's cool. I can do it." Type shit.
Out of here,
I was just looking to see how she even got famous to begin with. Off of YouTube.
Off of YouTube. Yeah. And then I think after meeting Adam is when she started like doing adult stuff.
They started doing adult stuff together. Yeah.
But yeah, man, more power to him. I couldn't do it. And but before we get off that topic, though, what do y'all think? Because this isn't the first time this week that I've seen like a discussion about double standards when it comes to men and women. I saw Tyler, the Creator, had like an interview on some podcast, and he was talking about like how a lot of his peers, like rappers, particularly in the industry, they have real double standards against women. Like, for example, a man calling a woman a hoe when a man himself probably got like 20 bodies, you know what I'm saying? But a woman is a hoe if she has like 5, you know what I'm saying? So what do y'all think about these kind of double standards? Do y'all think that it is time that as men we eliminate or at least forget some of these double standards? Or do you think that having double standards on both sides for both men and women is healthy? Like you need those double standards to some extent.
The way I put it, I mean, I always say, like, first of all, men and women we are different, but you know how, like, we are equal but different, right? So when it comes to the double standard things, I mean, it's just like, because a lot of people equate the double standards with just the sex stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Not to be clear, I don't mean just with sex. I just mean like in general, men and women on both sides. There's a lot of double standards where, you know, it's just the way it is, and kind of subconsciously we just play into them every day just because that's how we're used to living. But sometimes when people point them out, you're like, that is kind of
that's what I'm saying. Just like Boss Moose said, everything can't be a double standard. Like when it comes to how much body somebody has, that's how much bodies you have. You know what I mean? Like
right, but that's the double standard is not about the bodies. The double standard is a man calling a woman a hoe for having 5 bodies, and us men will be having like 10, 20 bodies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if she's the hoe, then like, nigga, if you got 10, 15, 20 bodies too, nigga, you a hoe too. You just gotta own it. You feel me? But but double standards with other things, like say like if like a man can't pick up a certain amount of weight on something and somebody call him weak, but that same weight that woman can't pick up, you can't really call her weak because that, you know what I'm saying? Because she may really not be able to pick up that. She's a woman. She can't pick up that weight. You know what I'm saying? Like she's not.
But if the man is a man, he can't pick it up neither. He's in the same boat.
That's what the double standard coming. That's what a double standard coming. You know what I'm saying?
That's why sometimes when you think about them, they're kind of messed up because it's like, you know what I mean? Just like we got women are allowed to be, I feel, allowed to be more emotional when they cry in public and stuff like that. People are more like, oh, but when men are emotional or even, I feel like we live in a time, I talk about the time. Exactly. And we live in a time where people, including women, kind of act like this thing of like, oh yeah, men are allowed to be emotional, no, men are allowed to be in their feelings. But as soon as you do it, then it's kind of like, all right, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really wants it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nobody really wants it. That's what I'm saying.
Nobody really wants it.
I believe men and women, we different but equal. The double standard things, I guess it depends on. It's just one of those things that just depends on what it is. To be real, that's how I feel about it.
Right. Right. No, for sure. Yeah, definitely a lot of double standards. We'll talk about double standards in the future when we have women on. I think this is a better thing to get the woman's point of view too. And I don't see a lot of
y'all covered it for the chat.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's all my point is that, you know, let's all be conscious of our double standards on both sides. But moving on, let's move on. We got we don't got that much time. We got a lot to talk about. Jonathan Majors, dear God, here we go talking about Jonathan Majors again, and it is not for anything good. So Jonathan Majors, as we know, he's been fighting his current situation that happened, I think, back in March when he got arrested for the alleged domestic dispute that he had with his then girlfriend. Since then, he's been very hard trying to fight this and denying that it happened. But unfortunately, as we all know, once you open Pandora's box, it don't close. And
word
allegations these days or being accused of things is a huge Pandora's box. And so Rolling Stone magazine went and they did some research. So Rolling Stone put out an article where they went and interviewed over 40 people. That's 40 people from Jonathan Majors' past who all confirmed that he is indeed very abusive, has been this way for years. He studied at Yale. That's where he went to college. And they spoke to people that he went to Yale with. They allegedly spoke to people that he's been on film sets with, old friends of his, all of whom chose to not be named, allegedly out of fear of consequences of what would happen to them. I'm going to read some snippets from the actual article in a minute, but there are also situations where they spoke to people he worked with that said he was very volatile on movie sets, actually even violent at some points to people on movie sets. In response to that, him and his team claimed that he was method acting, and that anyone who knows Jonathan Majors knows that he's a very intense method actor, and that sometimes that's just what comes with method acting. I call that baloney, a bunch of baloney. But let me hear and let me just read. You know, 'cause I know our audience sometimes likes the cold hard facts. So let me read a snippet here.
Forget
that. During this 3-month investigation, Rolling Stone magazine spoke with more than 40 people who have known Majors during his time in graduate school, his Hollywood career, and his romantic relationships. Many of them describe Majors as being a complicated, unpredictable, and sometimes violent man who can switch from charming to cold in a flash. All of the sources for this article requested anonymity, citing fear of career repercussions and personal retribution from Majors. Some claim that they were prohibited from speaking. My only response can be that I am silenced by an NDA that he had me sign, says one person who worked at Majors. So this guy's having people sign full-blown NDAs. Their stories suggest a pattern of alleged physical, mental, and emotional abuse that dates back a decade to Majors' time at Yale's David Geffen School of Drama, where he was involved in physical altercations and continued to the sets of his movies and TV shows, where production members raised concerns over his treatment of crew. There was even a story they said where he physically choked a girlfriend of his in front of several people at school. So that being said, right? It is wild. It's very wild. With that being said, I know part of why I read that strictly is because I know that particularly when we talk about things like this, some people feel that us throwing our personal opinions on it in there is us trying to bring down other men or us trying to bring down other black people, right? And honestly, like I say, bro, like, no offense to y'all, but fuck y'all, really. Because, like, the way I live my life, and I don't want to, no disrespect to how the rest of y'all live y'all life, I don't just hang up my opinions on people just because they look like me or because they sound like me or because they have the same genitalia as me. I don't care about none of that. I'm going to call it ace a ace and a spade. And in my opinion, over 40 people can't be lying. You know what I'm saying? If they did indeed go in and interview over 40 people, there's no way you're telling me 40 plus people all just have it out for Jonathan Majors and want him to put him down as a black man. Because that is one of the things him and his lawyers have put out in court, is that this whole thing is a witch hunt to bring down a successful black man. That, again, to me is baloney, because there are many, maybe I don't want to say many, but there are many successful young black men right now, just to name a few. David Cowan, I never know how to say his last name, the British dude, Lakeith Stanfield, Michael B. Jordan, one of Jonathan Majors' homeboys. Plenty of black men right now who are successful doing their thing and getting work and getting movies, and people love them. They're winning awards, and they're not. Why are we not seeing this stuff about them? Exactly. You get what I'm saying? Why would Hollywood or Disney or whoever this power at be is, why would they specifically want to just bring down Jonathan Majors? Now, if you in your life have done a lot of terrible things to people in your past, then yes, people might use you as a target or aim to bring you down. But if you have nothing to hide and nothing And I want to be clear here. I'm saying if you went and go spoke to people that I went to high school with, you're probably not going to hear a bunch of good stories either. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, all of us here have a squeaky clean background where everyone in our past could say positive things. But you're damn sure not going to interview nobody that's going to say I choked a woman in front of several people or was violently abusive to anybody or anything like that. So with that being said, what do y'all think? Like, what is your true personal opinions off of what you're hearing about Jonathan Major? Starting with Clay. What do you think there's any weight to any of this, or do you really think it's just people trying to destroy this man?
No, because like you said, the fact that there's 40 different people that are coming through with the same account, I mean, strength in numbers for real. Because and then the fact that you got people saying they want to stay anonymous because of just how aggressive this man can be,
might happen,
just out of fear and just what might happen, like. I don't got nothing to say to that, man. It just sounds to me like his lawyers doing their job. They're gonna defend him the best they could, but it's actually a shame that we have to talk about him this way and to even say that this is a factual thing, because I don't like bringing down other black men. I want all people of color at that, not just black men, to succeed and to show that we're better than the stereotype. So when I see things like this that fits the stereotype, if anything, it makes me more disappointed than to want to have to compare myself and tell him where he could be right and wrong. Like, no, regardless, he's wrong, and we are better than that. And point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? So like, and it's a shame. If it was a white man, I'd say the same thing.
Same thing. Don, what do you think?
So I'm honestly gonna say I'm on the fence. The only reason I'm on the fence is because of the whole anonymous thing, right? Like I would want to hear at least a few people, non-anonymous, actually say this happened. Because if it's coming from an article or whatever it is, or video or whatever they're saying, and they say 40 people, we interviewed them, they wanted to stay anonymous. You know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna have that skepticism about it. But with that being said, the fact that he's in this trouble, and the fact that they're actually putting out this article, there's a huge possibility that everything about it is true. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still on the fence. I'm not gonna say I'm 100% believe it, because whoever wrote the article, it's possible they could have bullshitted it. Real talk, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not
40 people.
No, I'm saying like the person who wrote the article. You know what I'm saying? Whoever wrote the article or whatever.
That made up 40 people.
Not made up 40 people, made up the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
The whole
the
whole thing. Like they just woke up and was like, fuck this nigga.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You really never know. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, I would want somebody non-anonymous, at least one person, like, hey, I'm a witness. This happened to me. Boom.
I got an answer for you though, because not for nothing, if that was the case, and for some reason they seem like these 40 people just came out of nowhere. Come on now, he'd been like, yo, all my people that been on set with me, all my people that have worked with me, all my people like that. That's when you go and call people that and be like, yo, tell them it's the other way around. I felt like he would have had other actors. Facts. He would have had other actors and people close to him step up if that was the case.
Even that I've been thinking. But prior to all this information hitting back in March and this all thing coming up, he was number one, had all the friends in the industry. Everybody was praising this guy. Why has not one single person,
that's true,
even his people that's supposed to be his friends, not one single person has even come out and said, nah, bro, that's not Jonathan. I know him. Not one.
Word.
Not one.
Word.
And to me, a lot of times in life, silence is way louder than speaking. You get what I'm saying? Because clearly he has people who might not be willing to jump on the whole, the bandwagon of hate and putting him down. But clearly there's also people who's like, I'm not going to defend him. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how he get down.
Exactly how he is.
You know what I mean?
Nah, that's facts.
I know how he is.
But all I'm saying with that 40 people, at least 2 or 3 could not be anonymous. Like, what's he going to do? Kill him?
I will say that.
They probably
but no, but it's not about that. it's not even about killing, bro. Again, if these are people who literally work in this industry, these could be people that he just worked with on the last movie set he was on. They could be in fear of saying something. You know, there could be people that just seen him yesterday and don't want to in any way mess up their situation, because again, we're talking about again prior to March when this hit. This man was top of the top. Marvel basically based their entire next 10 years off of him playing their main villain.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
power. You get what I'm
My
saying?
thing with that though is why even do the interview? If you like, I want to stay anonymous.
Because EJ, people, like,
why even do that? Why
would people want him to? And again, this is not me because I'm not into the whole victim. I don't like being a victim. Even when I am a victim, I don't like being a victim. But there's people who clearly are tired of seeing people get away with this. And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't blame them. If Jonathan Majors did any of this stuff, if he's truly guilty of any of this, why should he continue to have some big old career in Hollywood when there's people who are good people literally willing to die for the position that Jonathan Majors is in?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not no excuse because he's not the only person. He's not the only black guy in Hollywood. He's not the only guy who went to Yale that's in Hollywood. There's no specific situation that happened to Jonathan Majors that he could say, well, I went through this, so it's okay. No. So if everyone else has been through stuff and has to deal with the trials and tribulations of having this career and dealing with Hollywood, what makes any of this okay for you? I don't get because again, it seems his only card that he's even able to pull right now is the I'm a black man card, and they trying to destroy me because I'm a black man. Like, bro, you don't even really date black women. You get what I'm saying? Like, you not even know, you know what I mean? Like, prior to the only reason he even jumped into this whole Megan Good thing that's going on right now is because he clearly saw what the whole dating a white woman and how that situation, you know what I mean?
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Go look at documentaries about the OJ trial. The most time when OJ was fucking with black people was when he was on that trial. That was when he was like, I love black people. Oh, come on. And black people, they fought for him to the end.
Ate it up.
People be knowing what to do, man. And I don't blame them because, again, if you're in your situation, you have the position that he's in and your things are going well, you don't want that to end, especially, you know, over allegations of things that you did. But I'm gonna be frank with you, man. Like I've told everybody else I talked about this. I completely 100% believe Buddy did it. Do I, like Don said, do I believe all 40 people are maybe 100% telling the truth? No. Just like with Cosby, I don't think all the 120 something women that accuse him all. You know, I don't think they're all being honest. Clearly, there's got to be some people sprinkled in there for their own benefit. You know what I mean? But there's no way that Jonathan Majors, this new star who just came out of nowhere, right, that was having this big success, that people, it just don't seem realistic to me that they would just randomly want to take this man down for what?
Yeah, no, I don't believe that at all. That's stupid.
You know what I mean? Homie didn't even touch an Oscar yet. You know what I mean? Why there's black dudes who are way more above him that we talked about that no one's doing that stuff to.
He was trying to buy CBS. yeah, heard that.
Yeah, they're gonna say something like that. Yeah, they're gonna something. They're
trying to buy CBS.
You know what I mean?
Trying to take him down.
Come on. But yeah, man, I will say I hope at least most of this gets proven to not be true. You know what I mean? Because like Clay was saying earlier, and I'm so happy he said it, is that like if anything, it's just disappointing to have to look at another, because there's not even a lot of good black people in Hollywood that are good actors and actresses. Let's face it. Right now, Tubi showing us the most that black people can do when they get behind the camera.
Shout out to the Ratchet Tubi movies.
So when you see people that look like us that actually go further and take this career really seriously and are getting awards and are the stars, villains of Marvel movies and stuff and DC movies, it feels good. It feels good to see that, because, like, let's face it, bro. I tell people all the time, growing up, particularly how we grew up, that side of life was never like shown to us as realistic, or that we can go to Hollywood and be movie stars. No one, that was like a fantasy straight up. And I think part of that fantasy is why we don't see a lot of black people, kids our age, in movies and stuff now. Like, they're not dominant in it. We're more dominant in sports because they're way more tell us that we could pick up a basketball and a football before they tell us that we can go in front of a camera.
Well, also the sports takes more like it, instead of connections, it's going to take more skill, because with the acting, obviously it's a lot more connections to do with, it's connections and skill, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot more connections. You know what I'm saying? With
especially
sports,
once you get in the game.
You got to grind. Like, the best is going to get picked.
But if you think about it, Don, what that makes even less sense. It's like, why would something that is more like, and I don't mean the actual of us being able to do it or not. I'm talking about as far as it being introduced to us as like, this is what you can do. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why is it that like, and I obviously we get why, but I'm just saying it's bad that for Black culture, between our teachers, our coaches, whoever, our parents, they're more likely to introduce balls to us and put balls in our face before they say to us, you know, you can study the theater or you can study. Yeah, Paul, I know the pun was intended, but like they'll put balls in our face before they put cameras in our faces and be like, yo, you can be a director, or you could be a cinematographer, or you could be a writer. Like that's never even introduced really, unless you particularly go to study drama in school or writing or something like that. So I don't know. Like I said, I just think so obviously to have that awakening and be like, okay, this is something I could do, and then study it. He went to Yale, which Yale, if you know Yale, is not that's not no regular school. like
Ivy,
that is Ivy League. And it's like, bro, and it sucks to say it, but it's like when we do get the opportunities to do these things, we gotta stop showing our ass, man. As much as we wanted to, because is Jonathan Majors the only volatile, toxic Black man walking around? No. He in no way is not. Trust me. But when we do get in position to do things like this and to show the world and be in front of the world, bro, you like be on your best behavior, man. Do what you got to do. You think these years was easy for Denzel Washington? You know what I'm saying? Like you think, particularly when he was one of or Samuel Jackson, even, or Viola Davis, any of these older Black actors, they had to do it at a time when it really wasn't even a thing or cool to have Black actors being in Hollywood and be stars. You know what I'm saying? How did Denzel not get caught up in this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah. I mean, he's probably just naturally an asshole. Like it's just him. He's just a straight up asshole. That's probably it. You feel me? Like probably. Yeah. I don't know his background, but probably just grew up that way. He probably grew up.
From what I read that you mentioned it, and the way he grew up, he claims that. And if you look at pictures of him when he was a kid, I believe it. He was made fun of a lot, and he didn't look nothing really like how he looks now. And he was, girls didn't like him very much. Same thing. I think Michael B. Jordan went through kind of the same thing. He was talking about how like growing up, he just wasn't the man like he is now. And I get it. I don't get it because in high school I did fine, but I don't think there's no excuse to like, oh, I went through this in high school or whatever, so I gotta project that onto the people in my adult life or in my career. That's like so dumb. Like, you know what I mean? You should have went through what you went through and realized that it don't got to be like this. You know what I mean? It don't got to be like that. Because again, he was probably made fun of for some of the lifestyle choices that he does now, like acting and being into theater and drama.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Definitely, I've always said that people who truly ended up acting and always wanted to act ever since they was in school, I know, like especially in our upbringing, they definitely got the messier end of the stick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when we was in school, as opposed to now. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I hope these allegations are at least somewhat false, and I hope that he truly didn't engage in all of this. Do I think he has a career? What do you guys think? Do you think even if, like, say this dies out and people forget about it or he gets cleared, whatever you want to call it, do you see Disney and all of them still pursuing this with him? Because I feel like the way his name has been dragged through the mud at this point is like,
it's gonna take some time.
Really undo it.
Yeah, I don't think.
In my opinion, I think it's gonna take some time.
If everything comes true and everything's real and everything happened, he's done. Fumbled the bag. It's over with.
Yeah.
Definitely
the Disney bag.
The Disney bag for sure.
They gave Miles Bridges another chance. So who knows?
Well, he
just had to sit.
He got proved not guilty though, right?
Who?
Miles Bridges?
Yeah,
he got
Miles Bridges. He was proven not guilty?
Yeah, I think he got proven not guilty. If he was guilty, boy, the NBA would have been over. Man. The dude, I forgot what exactly he did, but he got suspended for domestic
violence.
Domestic violence?
Domestic abuse or domestic
violence.
Oh,
yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
I think he ended up getting proved not guilty.
Again, bro, that's what I'm saying. Sports players, like, bro, like look at football players. Every week, football players are knocking their girlfriends upside the head, up and down in elevators, throwing them over balconies, all type of nonsense.
And then what happens? They sit out for a year or two, so when people forget about it, and then they get signed.
Yeah. Same thing with Rad. That's why I said.
So he just got to sit out a couple of years. That's it.
Yeah, he got to sit. He at least got to take the time out. But we'll keep up. We'll see what happens with Jonathan Majors in his career. We'll talk about that in the future. But again, we're pressed for time here, so we're gonna keep it moving. Now let's get into the politics, man, to end out the show. Let's talk about the oncoming presidential election. And we're going to talk about DeSantis. So I don't really know a lot about DeSantis. I try to avoid information about this man as much as possible, but so DeSantis is obviously running for president. He's obviously part of the Republican Party. He's been known in most circles to be a very conservative right-wing guy. Some people might even go as far as to call him a Nazi. I don't throw that I don't throw that word around, but call him what you want. He's definitely not a liberal. So he recently did some sort of interview. I don't know what it was, because like I said, I'm kind of trying to stay out the political thing at this era of my life. But he did some sort of interview where he described what he would be looking to do if he was elected as president. And some of those things included, from what he's saying, is that one, he will completely eliminate the IRS. I don't know how this man.
I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how he plans to do that.
He gonna do what?
Eliminate the IRS. Now I didn't even look into what kind of craziness this meant. But I'd assume he's saying straight up, no one's paying taxes, I guess. Or
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means. But it sounds like
I don't know what that means.
It sounds like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it sounds like it's definitely not gonna happen.
That's all I can say. That's all I can really say about that.
Sounds like an empty promise. But we gotta remember that's what these politics do, right? I mean, Trump made a lot of promises, some of which he actually tried to bring to fruition, and he did. He started building that wall. Let's not forget, Trump did erect that wall. But another thing, interestingly enough, which I think kind of caught some people's attention more, that DeSantis said that he will be looking to do, is that he will completely reverse all laws and regulations that have been given to the trans community, including but not limited to their position in sports, where they're allowed to participate in sports of the assumed sex that they are now. He said he's done with that. He said, if you let me president, that's done. They're back to doing whatever the hell they were doing before they were playing sports. We don't want trans people in our sports. Obviously, there's some people who have a major problem with that, particularly if you're in the trans community or you're in the LGBTQ community.
That's another topic. I ain't gonna get into that word.
That's another topic. But then we have some people who obviously, even if they don't agree with all of DeSantis's is how he feels about things, they're quite interested in that reversal of the of trans being allowed to play sports. We talked about this, I think, a little bit throughout the year on this show. One, starting with Don, do you think it's possible? You think that he can do that? Do you think that he should? Do you think he should?
Oh,
that's the question you want to answer.
Yeah. So I'm really not gonna fully answer that question, but what I could say is you're right with so there's some things that with him, it's like, damn, bro, you're tripping. But there's some things where you're like, okay, like if you can do that, you're onto something. With the trans sports, I mean, put it this way, his whole election or his quote is to stop the wokeness, right? He's trying to cancel woke culture, woke idea. I feel like people done took woke way too far. You know what I'm saying? I think woke started probably like maybe, if I can think, when I first started hearing about people being woke, maybe it happened before, but it's probably a good 10, 11 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if you heard it before. It was like this.
I feel like I started hearing it around the George Floyd time, like when all that.
Maybe around like, but
maybe I'm just tripping.
Yeah. Stay woke. That, that's when I first started hearing, like when people were like, stay woke. All right, cool. Now we done took woke to a whole different level. Like, if you're not down with certain things when it comes to the LGBTQ community and trans community, then you're not woke. If you're not down with if you're not down with certain things when it comes to race and things like that, then you're not woke. You know what I mean? So I feel like he's trying to eliminate that woke culture. But there's some other things where he's just out of his freaking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when it comes to this man, that's where it's at. That's where I think it's at, to be real. But when it comes to the trans sports, I don't know if I'm really, I ain't even gonna get into that. We're not gonna get canceled today. And I'm not saying that in a good or a bad way. I'm just, I don't know. I don't even know if we want to touch on it. But you know what? My bad. But what I will touch on is I could honestly say this: he wants to keep the you know what I'm saying, the LGBTQ and that stuff out of schools, and I'm completely for that. You know what I'm saying? Like keep it out of schools. That's what he's for, stuff like that. So I'm completely for that. I could say that because I don't think I'd get canceled for that. Hopefully not.
Clay, what you think?
Man, as far as what we talking about now,
let me ask you a more specific question. Let me ask you a more specific question. Do you see yourself, and I don't know how you get position on voting and all of that, but let's say you're the ultimate voter, you make sure you go out and vote every time you're supposed to. Do you see yourself voting for someone who, even if all their beliefs and what they stand for, you're not really with, but there is one thing that's very important to you? You know, we're not going to say which side of that it is, but let's say this person is pushing an agenda that is very important to you and you feel the same as them. Is that enough for you to go in the booth and vote for this person?
That's a good question. Because that's kind of how I felt when I voted for Joe Biden. Because I did not want to. But at the time, given the information that I knew, and based on what I was trying to hopefully vote for in terms of what direction I believed in the country was moving towards, I guess I would have to say yes. I guess I probably would, only because I've lived that situation before where it kind of felt like, you know, I should vote, even though I really am not into voting for this guy. So I guess I would have to say yeah. But in terms of
sometimes you got to pick the lesser of two evils, which sucks. But sometimes, you know, that's what it is.
Right. But in terms of what this guy's talking about with the LGBT community, it's a very slippery slope topic. And again, it's nothing to offend that group of people. We want them to live their best life. But at the same time, I just hope that they understand why this is becoming even a thing, because you have men who are transitioning to a woman, who's then going to compete with other women, but he has higher testosterone levels, so he's most likely going to come and finish in a higher ranking than most of those participants. And then you have women who's trying to transition to be a man, who's going to want to compete with other men, who is probably not going to rank that high. And I bet you pretty soon we're going to have to start making some sort of adjustments to make that fair as well. So at this point, again, no offense to y'all, but just like how y'all gave us BET, y'all need y'all own network and section as well. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
That's low key
good. All I'm gonna say.
That's low key kind of a good example. They brought up the
right.
He said that's low key kind of.
Yeah. So, hey, we got BT.
That's how.
Y'all need TET.
That's how I feel about it. Y'all need TET.
That's the thing. But you know, that's that's where all this, I guess, begins to blur the line, because the thing is that people don't want separation. Everybody wants inclusion. Everybody wants to be on the same network, eat the same food, wear the same
It could
clothes.
be included after 10 p.m., my G. Like, when I know my kids not going to see it. Like, I'm not trying to see that during the day, nor should it be taught in schools. Like, do you know how ridiculous and how crazy it is that if we were 6 years old, 7 years old, being taught that you could be that you're a man today, could be a woman tomorrow, that would blow so many kids' minds. You know what I'm saying? And the child mind is already creative in itself. You gotta let that thing develop on its own. And if by the time they're 17, 18, if that's what they want to do, then so be it. Let them do that. But it really pains me to see kids going through transitions and they're still going through puberty. It's like your body don't know what to do at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of ridiculous.
You're a kid emotionally, you don't even know what to do. Like, as far
as and now I'm actually speaking from this firsthand, because again, I never really talk about, other than the fact that I work with kids. Now I'm actually seeing it firsthand. Young girl, I've literally known this girl since she was, you know what I'm saying, since she was a probably like 6 or 7 years old. Now she's 14, 15, talking about she wants to be a guy now. And I'm like, while you might acknowledge yourself as a person who's gay, Wait till you're 18 to decide if you want to be a man. How do you know that you're going to want to accept all the responsibilities that come with being a man by the time you're 18? And then what? You're going to decide you want to bust a U-turn? Come on, man. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, I think, you know, my business is like, bro, first off, I want to make it clear.
We're giving the youth too much power. We're giving the youth too much power.
That's a part of it for sure. And then it's like, you know, like I said, I don't got no problems with these people. And me personally, where I live my life, I strongly believe, and I want everybody, no matter what color you is, even racist people, leave them alone. Let them live their damn racist life and leave them alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my thing. That's how I feel. No matter who you decide to be with sexually or what you're into, that's your business. And nobody should try to stop you from doing that or dressing how you want to dress, or if you want to be a dude, a girl, whatever. That's you, do you. Like we're saying, when it comes to children, there is this thing of like, because like, I don't even want to go show a kid whose mind, say you're even like 11, 12 years old and your mind is still very like a sponge, you're taking everything in. I wouldn't even want to go show them certain movies or TV shows where they might misinterpret the message and take it the wrong way and then go off, you know what I'm saying? Because your mind is still so young, it's not old enough to understand certain things and go, okay, that is wrong, or that I'm not ready for, you know what I mean? Like, I look at it all the time. Like, even I was a young kid that I had straight up, obviously heterosexual sex when I lost my virginity, and I regret doing it at the time when I did it. You know what I'm saying? And that is not, it wasn't a super bad experience. I didn't get no kind of disease. There was no negative of me doing it. But simply just looking back at the time when I did it, like, dog, you shouldn't have, like, you wasn't ready for that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you should have waited a little further. And I think, like, if we were at a time able to tell kids, like, nah, you don't need to be concerned about sex. You don't need to be concerned about boyfriend, girlfriends. You need to just, you know, wait a little bit for that. Why is it now that we're openly allowing them to consider changing their whole sexuality? You know what I'm saying? Like, why should that be a thing at a young age? I just don't get that.
No, funny, it coming like they might change them sexuality before they even decide if they want a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and it's crazy.
Oh, like, yeah, that's part of what I'm saying.
I hear them talking about, oh, I got a crush on this person. Now it's, oh, I want to be this instead.
And that's because a lot of this, because of how the internet and how we talk about it, becomes novelty. It's just like even as us as kids, right? The things we would hear rap about, we were a 7-year-old because we heard Ludacris rapping about chicken and beer and smashing girls. We didn't experience none of that crap. We didn't even know half of what we were saying. But because we were hearing it and it was such a popular thing for us at a young age, we were like, yeah, we know, we part of this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a big kind of what's happening with these kids too, but we're not acknowledging it, is that some of them are just trying to be a part of something, of what is going on. And that's a normal part of being a kid, like, because that's just part of being a kid.
And I wanted to circle to DeSantis real quick too, with like, and it's on what y'all talking about too, with Disney. Disney really pushes that narrative, the woke narrative, and they really kind of like want to teach this even to the kids, right? To the point where there was this movie that I watched. I brought the kids to watch it and everything. Elementals. I don't know if you guys heard of the movie Elementals.
Yeah, I heard of it.
All right. We watched the whole movie, and then me and Rachel was talking. Rachel was telling me, she's like, "Yo, I'm surprised that movie got such low sales. Nobody's watching it. Like it's a flop.
Tired of the crap, man.
Right, but check this out, though. Check this out. The movie was supposedly LGBTQ movie where they're talking like it's supposed to be non-binary or something of that sort. But I watched and they put that out there. And I'm watching this movie. I didn't know that before I watched the movie. And I did not get any of that watching the movie. So I'm like, why even put that out? That's what it's supposed to be. When I watch the movie, there's nothing of that sort that would make me think that. You know what I'm saying?
It's the same reason. And this is why I said all of these things that, in my words, become novelty is what is destroying creativity and destroying the arts in general.
Yep.
It's the same reason why the new Indiana Jones movie got to have some annoying lady as his sidekick that don't got nothing to do with Indiana Jones. The same reason why Star Wars has Rey being this ultimate best Jedi of all time when she did nothing to deserve that title, if you know anything about Star Wars. It's the same reason why all these little movies and shows have to have a black kid or a half and half mixy kid sprinkled in somewhere, because it's not even about actual inclusion. It's about money. And that's kind of where DeSantis' problem with Disney, like you just brought up, came in, is because Disney, they're not doing any of this because you think all the fancy dudes and the CEOs of Disney and suits, you think they want their kids being LGBT? No, they just see that there's a huge market for this right now, and that if you don't have it in your business, it's almost anti, like it's money away. You think Disney, they know that. They know that, bro. Every single thing that I've watched in recent, even that involved Disney, especially that involves Disney, has had some sort of LGBTQ message or, something in their throat in there kind of mixed in, or something about racial, it's everything. It's just like, what do you think Disney really made the Little Mermaid black because they so badly wanted to see a black? No, they made her black because they were like, this is a good way to get a lot of people talking about this whole movie.
Yeah.
The rest of the remakes, this Little Mermaid movie made most money out of all their live action movies that they've tried recently that people were saying suck.
It was actually pretty good. So
that's what I heard. I didn't get to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was actually pretty good. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a black Little Mermaid. It's a damn fictional cartoon character that's a mermaid. I don't see why anybody would give a crap. You know what I'm saying? But don't let these people confuse you. Even like I've been talking about with y'all for years about the Black Panther. You think Disney? I recently saw an interview where Anthony Mackie did, where he said for years, long before he was even in any Marvel thing, he was petitioning at Disney, sending letters, auditioning, trying to get a Black Panther movie started because he was obsessed with Black Panther since he was a kid. Like he grew up reading the comics. He loved Black Panther. No one ever wanted to do it. Never. Nothing. He said for years. Why all of a sudden out of nowhere, Disney just like, all right, Black Panther, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. It's like these people don't have our best intentions in mind. They don't really want to see us succeed. They just realize, just like how they was doing us when Black Panther came out, they realize right now there's a market for the LGBTQ community, and they're trying to take advantage of it. And my only disappointment, I'm not part of that community, so I can't speak for them. I don't want to. But just as how I feel about it for the blacks, I wish that the LGBT community would more so realize what Hollywood is doing to them and to their culture, and use, instead of hating all of us people who speak our mind and don't exactly jump on. Look, these people are literally extorting you, bro. They're extorting you.
And that's the thing you just said. They want so much like exposure and acknowledgement of like who they are. Like we don't already know who they are as a group of people. That just acknowledging them is like all they want. They want more and more acknowledgement. They need to win, really make up.
And I noticed that, and my question is like, where does it end with the even for blacks? I'm not even gonna just, because black people too, we've been on this long tirade of like, we want representation, when does it end? Because we clearly realized that in the past couple of years, representation does not equate to anti-racism. It doesn't stop racism. In fact, I would say we've been seeing racism even more because there's white people that get angry at black people being included and gay people being included. So all you guys have really done is just expose us more to how much the world freaking hates us and doesn't want to see our faces in things, but y'all keep forcing. And it's cool for the people that are making money off it, because if you're a black person in Hollywood right now, it's a prime time. They're probably getting roll stone at them. But for the rest of them outside, what are they doing? Is seeing people that look like you all the time in very minor roles, is it really doing something? When I was a kid, the two favorite shows that I loved as a kid was That's So Raven and Famous Mr. Jackson, right? And not only because I thought it was good shows, but because the main lead actors in those were people that looked like me. There were people that were young, almost near in my age, that looked like me, that were running these shows. The whole show. It wasn't just a 5-minute, you come in and you say a line and go back. They were running the show with the show. What do we as black people get now, and gay people, y'all too, what do we get out of people that represent our sexuality or how we look just being thrown these little meaningless roles and things to be on TV? I just don't think it's that. I think we're actually hurting ourselves by like showing our Achilles heel, kind of. Like they can see it and like, oh, this is what moves them. This is what gets them. This is what calms them down.
And it's funny because all the little things that you're pinpointing at right now is low key why Tyler Perry is so successful, because I feel like when you think about someone who
I got frozen. I don't know if y'all can hear me. I'm frozen on screen, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little frozen. Just keep going. I'm seeing if I can fix it real quick. My bad. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it just started like acting up. Let's see if I get. See if this works. 1 second.
you know what I'm saying, that still wins.
Right.
So, and that's why, not for nothing, another thing I'm gonna say, him buying BT. I know it's still early, but I'm honestly hoping that we can probably get some more of the correct influence and the correct, you know what I'm saying, like the things that we want to see. You know what I'm saying? Because I, like, just like you said, I miss seeing shows like Jet Jackson, That's So Raven, even Cousin Skeeter. You know what I'm saying? Was a dope show to watch.
Right. But if Tyler Perry's going to do his thing too, he can't. Tyler Perry can't just keep portraying black people or a black woman that's going through problems with some violent black man getting beat up and coming back. Like I said, James Jackson was about a young black kid that was a freaking spy for America. That's So Raven was a show about a black girl that can see into the future. You get what I'm saying?
Black people in the simplest ways, like the most stereotypical ways. But that's not good. I'm not saying it's good.
Right, but that's not good.
Does it in such a simple way that people expect, and look how great it is. Where if they were still putting out shows like Jet Jackson, That's So Raven, that they would be doing way more. Just like those shows that are so successful at the time when we had. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so I'm agreeing with you.
Sure. Facts. EJ, because I can't even see Clay. He's like completely.
Look like. Hey, do me a favor. Both of y'all just drop out real quick and come back in. I don't know if this would help fix it or not, but it just started tripping out of nowhere. My bad, y'all. Who's in here? It's a little technical difficulty. Seeing if we can fix it. Yo. You hear me? All right. Yeah, let me see if when I get this in, if we good again. Hold on. Let me see. Hopefully this.
Just try to probably at most 21 minutes.
All right.
You think it's this program?
It's got to be the program. Yeah, it's got to be the program for real. Let me see. I guess that Riverside is it's probably more reliable.
Yeah, I mean that's the actual like podcasting platform.
Yeah. See, now I can't even get y'all in here. What the hell?
Yeah, I gotta try to see if I get it on my computer.
Hold on 1 second. All right, here's what I'm gonna have to do. Let's see what happens when I do this. Stream recording reset.